Hello Flosstube, this is Kim, aka Spartan Stitcher, back again with Flosstube number 23. It is the 1st of July, so we have the closeout of June and year 4 in the School of Magical Stitches and Literature, the beginning to year 5 with the Order of the Phoenix tasks. It's also a busy month in full coverage fanatics. Flosstube itchy knows, I guess. And so let's get right to it. I have a lot of pieces to show you and talk about. And as you can tell by the title of this video, I just completely underestimated what I'm capable of, I guess. I know I stitched a lot, but I never thought I'd make it through everything that I talked about last week. So let me tell you what happened. All right. So I told you that I wanted, may not get all my points for homework and extra credit last week because I wanted to get some full coverage phonetics goals done and personal goals. So the first thing I started with was Sunday Delight, which was for full coverage phonetics summer Sal, which was the June theme, and also my by the numbers 1200. So I needed 2400 10 stitches on this one. And I'm down here on this page with the banana. When I showed it to you, it just looked like one big blob of one color of yellow. Well, it took me a couple of days, but let me fold this right so you can see it better. I put in just over 2,500 stitches, so it's now much more recognizably a banana. There you go. Now again, you look at it back here, it looks more like a banana. Up close it looks a little odd, like are bananas really that color? But once you step back from it, the shading and the way that the light is hitting it makes a lot more sense. So it's sitting on the table, so that's the shading down there, and then the top part, and of course when you make a banana split, unless you didn't know this, you don't want a banana that just turned yellow from being green. You want more of a riper banana to go with your ice cream. And I never really talked about it, but the reason I chose this piece, besides liking Randall Spangler and all his art, is that both my uncles, they were twin uncles, and they owned an ice cream shop where I'm from in Michigan. And so my idea, not thinking, yes, this is going to take me years and years and years to stitch up, is that wouldn't this look cool if it was hanging up in the ice cream shop? But unfortunately, both my uncles have passed from different reasons. So this is now more of a remembrance piece. So we have the beginnings of our banana. And also, when I was in college, I worked at their ice cream shop. So I've got some experience with scooping ice cream. And they really liked Snoopy, so that's why I have a Snoopy needle minder on there. Okay, so I finished that task. They're that personal goal to keep up with the by the numbers and full coverage fanatics and participate in the monthly theme. So then I went to the weekly homework, which there was 6 different tasks for the end of the year, for year 4. The first one was you had to work on a piece that had at least 2 things touching. You did not have to stitch on those 2 things. And then I also used the same piece for the task that was something that you needed help with, because it looked like Harry's parents helped him defeat Voldemort. So that was 400 stitches, and I worked on Pretty Little Paris because it's a like a collage of all the different buildings in Paris, so they're touching each other. And I've told you before that I intended to do this on Fiddler's Ada, and then I changed it because of Helen D and her brilliant start on gray. So I stitched more into the Eiffel Tower and started Notre Dame. So that was 400 stitches on there. I've got a thread parked. So it's coming together really well. And then the next task in the homework was stitch 200 stitches in black or gray for Lord Voldemort coming back. So instead of working on Trick or Treat, because you'll hear more about that later, I decided to pull out the black work that I had started a few weeks ago. This is a free chart by Blackwork Journey. It's called Satisfaction. And black work, obviously it's got black, but because it's back stitch, I had to double the amount of stitches. So I needed 400. I didn't know if I had 400. So last time you saw this, the L in till was loose, so I fixed that. And I did the rest of the border. And then I was over here and trying to meet the two pieces of border up, and I realized that I was off by half a stitch. So I had to find where the error was, and luckily the error was not all the way around here and down. The error was right where because I started this from the border from down here, and I went this way, and then I went this way. Well, the problem was in one of those diamonds right here. So I only had to stitch or frog like this little corner. So I took my pictures, because you can, as long as you take pictures to support what you're doing, you can count. So I had done those stitches in a week previous, so I hadn't counted those stitches this time. But then I had to show that I frogged them and re-stitched them so I could count those. Even then, this was only 388 black stitches. And because it was back stitches, I had to do 400. And instead of pulling out Trick or Treat for a measly 12 stitches, since it was still in June, I worked on Oh Baby and just hopped down to the page below where I was working, because there was black right at the page break, and I did 12 more 10 stitches in black. And my homework's already been graded, and the grading prefix had to laugh about that. Like, you had to pull out a project for 12 10 stitches. Yep, yes I did. Could I have fudged it? That wouldn't be right though. I have integrity. That was only 388 stitches. So I did my 12 other stitches because it was a piece I was working on anyways. So the next task was 100 stitches in a grave or graveyard scene and a piece that makes you laugh. And I told you I was going to work on Haunted Mansion Stretch Portraits by Good Morning Maui on Etsy, because there's a grave, and this whole thing is pretty funny, because if you've been to the Haunted Mansion, you know how you see these portraits. They're up here at first, you don't see the bottom half, and then you realize what the full picture is. Pretty funny. So I did 400 on this, all in the graveyard scene. I didn't arrange my pieces to be folded for easier viewing. Okay, so I finished up the green down here, and I worked on this tombstone for my 400 stitches. Is that 400? 200. That's why. It's only 200. 200 in that gravestone. And then for the last task of the homework was an ingredient for Polyjuice Potion for Professor Moody. And I decided, since I told you I wanted to work on this anyways, I worked on Guardian Angel for Lacewing Flies because she flies. And then later on in the week, so I did 200 for Lacewing Flies, and then yesterday, after I finished all my goals, I'm like, well, what do I work on for the last day of the month without, getting too involved into something, because, I don't want to start an ultimate task knowing that the very next day I can start homework and July, August extra credit. So I worked on Guardian Angel some more. I didn't count my stitches for this. I just stitched and stitched and stitched, and I got a lot done. So this is still on my Q-snap. I kind of took it off so you could see where I'm at. So for the 200 stitches for Polyjuice Potion, I did more of this green and brought it up. And then yesterday, I did this little bit of dark green right there. And then I did all of this, and and a little bit there. So all of those light tans is what I did. All of this fill-in, the fabric that you still see, all that fill-in is one color. So that'll go pretty quickly. And then let me hold up this picture so you can see what I have left on that dress. You can see I have more green, and it's not focusing, but there's another swag of flowers. Focus. So I have all this green, a little bit more mauve, and all that swag of flowers to do. And then there's some of that metallic that comes down in between the mauve and the cream and tan. So that's all I have left to do on her dress. And then I will, I've got her done up until her sleeve. So then all I have left is the giant wings and upwards from her sleeve with the baby. And again, I'm not stitching the oval. So we'll see when I can get, this is a finish goal for this year. I want to get this done. So I'm getting really happy now to work on this because I can see how it's coming together. So that's what I did on Angel, Guardian Angel. And then the only task I had left, only goal that I had left were the 500 stitches on something you'd find in a maze for extra credit. And I told you I was going to work on the Twisted Vine section right here on Camelot. And I was about to stitch on this. I was getting ready and I'm like, wait a minute. This is the one where you have to stitch on the item. I don't want to put in this work and not get my point. So instead of filling in block by block by block, because I have this part gridded, but a lot of that, the blue background and the gold lines diagonally across it, I don't want the grading prefix to say you didn't work only, you worked on some background, some things that weren't maze items. So I put in the 500 stitches only on the shades of green in the vine. So I had some ninja stitches in here, and then I took color by color, just like I do a big full coverage project, cross country by color for the page, and I just followed it. And because I had the gridding, I was able to just keep going. But then I got over here with some of the colors, and I was counting and trying to place some stitches by themselves, and I realized that my gridding was off. So I had to take some gridding out, and because of the way that I had gridded, it also, it was the vertical lines that were off. But I also, because of the way I was trying to make the gridding work, it also took some of the horizontal lines out. I will fix that before I work on this again. Because now once I'm over there, and because now I'm doing that cross country by color, I just want to finish those colors so then I can do all the blue and a little bit of gold in there. But that made me really happy to get a good chunk done on this. So that brings me to the last time you'll see this for a while. Oh baby. This was my 90-day piece for Full Coverage Fanatics. I was successful. I worked on it every single day for 90 days. Okay, so it started April 1st. For the month of April, I got over 9,000 stitches, 10 stitches. For the month of May, I got over 9,500 10 stitches. And that's when I got 2 page finishes in May. And then I slowed way down. And I said, I don't think I was going to get another page finish. Well, for the month of June, my total is over 6,500 stitches for a quarterly total of over 25,010 stitches. And I swear I didn't think I could do it, but I got a page finish. So, there's the page. It's really interesting. I told you that was green that was showing up from the fence behind. There's actually, let me get this to focus. There's not that many green shades in there. But it works. You bring it back here and it works. You can tell he's got his head stuck through the fence. So, that's the entire width of the project. I keep calling this a page finish, but it's actually a page in a teeny tiny partial page that's only 12 stitches wide. So, I'm not going to count that as a partial page because it's tiny. It just makes, this page is just a tiny bit bigger than what a full page usually is. So, that's the full width of the design. I've got another page and a partial to go for the length of the design. And all that to fill in the middle. And again, this is one without a lot of confetti. So, let me show you up closer. So I did do those 12 extra stitches in black right down here. But then I got this page finish on the 29th of June. Right before bedtime. So come yesterday, I had to work one more day on this. I'm like, well, shoot. And so I just did the easy thing and I put in like 2 or 3 lengths of black right where there's a huge section of black on that next page under right here. So that's why you can tell, you can see where the page break is supposed to be and then the black is a little bit further down. So just by a few rows. So I worked on this every day for 90 days and I am sick of green and brown. So you will not see this for a while unless I have to work on it a little bit for homework. But it won't be a focus piece for a while. So that is Oh Baby. That brings us to plans. This week's homework is before classes start in year 5 in Order of the Phoenix. So if you recall, Harry gets in trouble for using magic out of school. And his neighbor, and for the life of me, I can't remember what her name is, but he just thought she was a boring old lady. So the first task is to do 300 stitches on a boring whip. So what I'm going to do is do 300 stitches on this. This will bring me into the color section because all the black is done. So I have to pick my blue. It's either 807 or 813, I think. That goes well with this fabric that I used on Postcards from the World by Clouds Factory. So I'll use one of those. There are some regular full crosses in the stars and then a whole lot more backstitch in that blue. So it shouldn't be a problem to get 300 regular stitches on this. Then the second task is, since you used unapproved magic and Harry was going to be suspended, to work on a piece that you haven't touched in 5 months, or if you've touched everything, to work on your oldest whip, 300 stitches. Well, my oldest whip is Camelot. This was a restart in the fall of 2014, right before I got pregnant with my youngest. And I've said before in my first video, I think when I did the whip parade, this is a restart because I had done the bottom border up to here, all the way down up to here on both sides. I had done all of this whole castle medallion, and I had done, tried this much or so of that Twisted Vine sampler. but I had messed up. And so the 1/1 here in the border, I did 2/1, and then I was trying to do this piece 2/1 on 28 count because I didn't read the directions clearly enough. And I don't know why I thought I could do 2/1 on 28 count. It's just not possible. Not in a full coverage section. So that's why I had to restart this whole piece. So my first start was in 2013. I don't know when. It was before I kept track. So that's why this piece feels even older than it is, because I've been working on it since 2013. You know, I did all this, you know, bottom diamond point of the border, and that castle was hell to get through a second time just because it's all blended threads and it wasn't fun the first time. So that brings me to, besides the 300 stitches for homework, and since we're done with quarter 2 of the 90-day challenge in Full Coverage Fanatics, it is killing me because, you know, I'm one of the admin in Full Coverage Fanatics. I want to participate in everything that I can. There's about 11 or 12 of us that have actually done both quarter 1 and quarter 2 of the 90-day. And I've stitched every single day of this year, which is far better than I've ever done before. I want to keep going. I want to keep stitching every day. And I want to participate in quarter 3. But my personal goal is to finish this year. My oldest whip. I want to get it done. So I'm not going to participate in the quarter 3 90-day challenge in Full Coverage Fanatics. Instead, I'm going to do my own personal 90-day challenge on Camelot. I'm going to work on this every single day for at least 90 days, or until I finish it, or whatever comes first. And we'll see how it goes. I really have no idea how it's going to go. If I'm going to fly through this, or what. So I have the rest of this vine section. I have more on the Excalibur block. You can see there's some, let me get this to focus. There's some back stitching around of 3 crowns around Excalibur. I have to finish Arthur. I have to do the entire jousting scene, which is over 1. And all of this, I believe, is just gray backstitch, the background. So just the 2 jousters are the stitched part. And the only thing left in the border, these lazy daisies, and then there's some gold beads that go along in here that I haven't put in yet. So, how far do you think I can get in 90 days? I want to finish it. If you watch my videos, you'll see. So I want to finish this, and then these 2 first, and then I'll scroll up and start on the jousting scene. So we shall see where I get to. And then the last task for homework is the Dementor attack. So you have to work on a piece that has no faces, no animals or people or anything that has a face, whether you see it in the piece or not. Okay, so anything geometric, you know, samplers, nothing with people or animals. So you have to work on, like I said, something geometric or something without people. So I'm going to do, and that's 300 stitches. So I'm pulling out my Hogwarts travel poster. There's no people on this. There's no animals in this. And because it's 10 stitch, I have to do 610 stitches. Okay, so I've done the sky. I can either come down and do the hills that Hogwarts is on, or I can do this giant hill in 1 color. And then some of the lake in a 2nd color, if that's not 600 stitches. It's going to be super easy, super boring, but quick. So again, let me show you what that, oh, I didn't finish the sky. So I'm going to finish the sky. You see where the sky comes down here. I'm going to finish the sky, and I'm going to do that mountain over here in one color. And then if I need to, I'll go down into the lake. So 2, maybe 3 colors to get my 600 stitches on that. And let's see, what's next? Tour de France is kicking off on the 6th of July in full coverage Fanatics. This is where we do 1 stitch per kilometer. And you can declare if you're doing the yellow jersey, so every single kilometer of the race. You're doing the green jersey or all the sprint stages of the race. Or you're doing the spotted jersey for all the hill stages of the race. You can stitch ahead as long as you don't start before July 6th. And you have to keep posting pictures on your, keep posting comments with pictures on the original post for each leg of the race. And for the rest days, you can catch up, or like I said, you can stitch ahead of time. So I am doing the yellow jersey. The Tour de France this year is over 3,400 kilometers. Now, because I do 10 stitch on my full coverage pieces, that means I will be doing almost just shy of 7,000 stitches on a piece. That's a lot of stitches. I told you that in my 90-day pieces, this past month I did 6,500 on Oh Baby. And the 2 months prior I did over 9,000. So it's about average for what I can do in a month on a piece, working on it every single day. I don't have to, I can't start until the 6th, so I can't work on it every day of the month. And I have to get it done by the 28th because the race is the 6th through the 28th. So it's a short amount of time. And I have other goals because this is my 90-day piece. But I still have to, do these stitches for the tour. So I chose to work on Trick or Treat by Randall Spangler. This is the one that I'm starting Extreme Cross Country, doing all the black first. And I need to talk faster because my time is going. Let me show you where I'm at. All the partial pages at the bottom are done. There you go. You can see it all now. And I believe I've got 2 pages over here done on the next row up. In the center section, there's not a whole lot of black. So I'll do all the fence line over there. So I know for sure I'll be scrolling this up this month. We'll see if I'll finish this row. We'll see if the 7,000 stitches, if it lets me finish the next row of pages or what. So that's 7,000, almost 7,000 stitches on this piece in 1 month. That's a lot of attention. So unlike all the other months, I am not going to be doing by the numbers, each one on a different piece. I'm going to do both by the numbers on this piece because I need 2,400 and 4,800. So I'll do it on this piece. So let me do the math. That's 6. I actually have to do more than the Tour de France to finish both by the numbers on this piece. But that's okay. The monthly sale in Full Coverage Fanatics is From Sea to Shining Sea. So we're looking for beach or ocean themed pieces, and I do not have one. So that's why I decided to do the yellow jersey and go for that for both by the numbers, because I can't do the monthly theme. I don't have a beachy ocean themed full coverage piece right now. Let's see. If I run out of things to work on, extra credit for July and August will be, I want to work more on Angel, and so at least 2 tasks fit that one. A piece with the feathers, and a piece with flowers for Aunt Petunia. So that's that one. And then also another extra credit task where I can count my daily stitches on Camelot is a piece with a sphere, a circle, or glass. There's a circle. You can't see all of it, but there's a circle there. So I'll count my Camelot stitches for that task. And one last note real quick. Ann P., my other admin to Full Coverage Fanatics, she talked about in her last video, which is Fiber, Floss, and Fiction podcast, I'll link it below, that she figured out that she is not a process stitcher or a product stitcher, but a progress stitcher. As long as you're seeing progress in your pieces, you are extremely happy. You're, making that progress is what makes you happy. Not necessarily the actual process of doing it, but seeing things being accomplished. And I think she hit the nail on the head with that one. Definitely a progress stitcher along with her. So I hope you guys have a great week and happy stitching, guys. Oh, the glasses, only one person wanted them. So I will comment on your comment, Julie, and we'll get your address. All right? Bye, guys.